So, is this list time?
It's list time.
Oh, boy. You're gonna, like I said before, you're gonna need
I'm gonna be the hard carry.
You're gonna be the carry, dude. I'm sorry.
I was gonna save this list for Halloween for October, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it now.
Yeah, I thought it would be easier than it was. I actually even
did
some of it at work.
Yeah, I thought I would have a lot more honorable mentions than I do, but I don't. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And I have one. I'm not even gonna mention it because I know that you're gonna be talking about that person. So.
Maybe.
So,
all right.
You could just name your honorable mentions.
First honorable mention is David F. Sandberg. He's only done like 2 horror films, and he's done a lot of horror shorts. But I really like what he does with Lights Out and Annabelle Creation. You know why? Because he puts emphasis on character before the scares, so you actually care about the characters.
Okay.
And that's what I really like. Also, he has really kind of like... Lights Out is a little jump scary, but Annabelle Creation actually has some really kind of slow burn horror moments that I really appreciate.
Yeah. I should mention that there was one person that would have probably been on this list, but I wanted to at least watch one more movie. There could have been 2 people. Mm-hmm. Dario Argento.
Yeah.
I wanted to at least see something from him.
He's on my honorable mentions too, but again, because I've only seen like 1 film.
I've seen clips from like some of his other films, like Inferno, and like, wow, that shit looks real good. Damn. I can't wait to watch it. But like, and then the other one was Roman Polanski. I never got to watch Repulsion or The Tenet. Yeah. Which I wanted to watch before this.
Okay, cool.
So
my next one is George A. Romero. The dude invented the zombie genre. Come on. Night of the Living Dead, one of the most atmospheric, maybe it's just because it's black and white, but it's so atmospheric, it's so great, and it reminds me of Halloween every time, and I love it.
Yeah.
Next one's Dario Argento, like I said. Andy Muschietti. He directed Mama and also did It and It 2.
Okay.
I think I like his style, and I like what he does. Again, he puts emphasis on character and story over just jump scares. And if you notice, that's going to be a theme throughout all these picks, is because I like that.
That means more to you.
Yeah, and like you said, there's a lot of people on here like David Sandberg and Andy Muschietti who've only directed a couple films, and there's other people too. I can't necessarily put David Robert Meacham on here because he directed one of my favorite horror films, but that's the only horror film he's directed. There are some directors who have only done like 1 horror film, so I didn't want to count them.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include anybody that was like just one movie.
Exactly. So I chose people who are like primarily based in horror. And then my last 2 honorable mentions are Gray Areas, which is Guillermo del Toro and Alfred Hitchcock. Again,
I was gonna say that with Alfred Hitchcock too.
Like Alfred Hitchcock, he's more of like suspense thriller than he is kind of horror. But Psycho's horror, but he's got Birds and Psycho, which is pretty horror, but. You know, he's not necessarily a horror director, and same with Guillermo del Toro. He's got like some creepy imagery in like his films and like very like dark fairy tales, but he's done like Hellboy and stuff too, and Pacific Rim, so and Shape of Water, which has some dark moments, but it's not a horror. So that's my honorable mentions list.
All right, you mind if I just start?
Yeah, go ahead. Number 5.
Number 5, and I just lost it.
All right.
Oh no! No, actually, where did it go? It just disappeared.
It's gone.
Let's pull it back up. Let's go.
It goes. Reverse. Everybody clap your hands.
I'm not clapping, I'm snapping. Alright, number 5, James Whale. The Invisible Man, Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, which I haven't seen yet, but it's I hear it's really good.
Nice.
These are very short movies, and out of all like the Universal monster movies, I think these are the best 2 that I've seen. Okay. I've seen these 2, Dracula, Wolfman, Phantom of the Opera. The Invisible Man has like really good special effects for its time.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't really hold up that well right now, but like additionally, like you have these movies that are like under an hour and a half, like 80 minutes and 70 minutes for Frankenstein. And they're very progressive. Like things happen very quickly to get the story out of the way.
Do you have these on like Blu-ray or something?
No, actually, I borrowed them from Brian.
Okay.
He has got the entire collection.
Yeah, that's why I need to get caught up on those babies.
They're pretty good. I just watched actually Frankenstein for this because I didn't borrow that from him. I watched it last night. Mm-hmm. It was very good. Really good. One of the best, I'd say, second best first impression I've seen of a monster, behind Alien, the first reveal. Mm-hmm. It's so good. His mannerisms, the makeup, his posture, just really good.
Right.
Yeah, James Whale.
Nice. My number 5 is Sam Raimi.
All right.
The man, the myth, the legend, the man who's brought us Evil Dead.
Yes.
And he also produces a ton of horror films like Don't Breathe and The Grudge and all these films. Like, he produced all these films, and that's great and all. But he's a maestro when it comes to things like goofy, kind of lighthearted horror, and I really like that. He likes to do the comedy kind of like absurdist horror, which is pretty cool, which is what I think was missing from like the remake, you know?
Yeah.
Because the remake kind of lacked that fun, and freaking Sam Raimi brings the fun to his horror. I've never seen Drag Me to Hell. I hear it's great. I've never seen it, but I have seen Evil Dead 2, and it was fantastic. So I gotta put him on my number 5, baby.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 is so good.
So good.
I considered putting him on my list.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Cronenberg. Because Cronenberg, like,
Master
I don't
of the
like
body horror.
I don't like it usually, but he kind of sells me on it. There's so much effort that goes into his movies and stuff like that, with like The Brood, the Fly, and actually The Fly is kind of interesting because they started out with the makeup. There's like 6 phases of his transformation. Yeah. They started out at phase number 6 and then started to slowly dismantle him, which was an interesting choice. That movie is really good. It's like it's his own like creation of Frankenstein. Yeah.
All right.
Pretty terrifying imagery.
Yeah. And he would have done Frankenstein too.
Yeah, he would have did it, but he's like, okay, let's just do this instead. Yeah. Which is a very different imagining of the Vincent Price one.
Yeah.
Like completely different. Did you see that one?
Oh, The Fly?
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
I've seen clips. It's funny because like he's just a human man with like a giant fly head.
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to tell me a story when he saw that film. Like there was a fly in his house and he was like, "Get out of here!" You know, when he saw the fly. Yeah. He's like, "Help me!" Help.
Oh boy. You know, yeah.
Like in the movies.
What a crazy ending.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. You done?
Yeah.
Because my number 4 is Mike Flanagan. I've had a lot of differences with this guy.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. And sometimes when I look at his Twitter, I definitely still have those differences. He annoys me sometimes on Twitter. But you know what? I can't deny the dude's talent. I always say that horror is drama that scares you, and I think nobody understands it better than Mike Flanagan. I've pretty much liked to loved all of the films he's done. There hasn't been like a bad one to me yet, including his TV series Haunting of Hill House, which I thought was groundbreaking for horror.
That was a great one.
Because it was so good. And I can't wait to see what he does with Dr. Sleep. You know, he's doing a sequel to The Shining right now. So, and I don't know if it's a sequel to Stanley Kubrick's Shining, or I think he might just ignore that and just do a sequel to the book.
Okay.
You know? I don't know what he's going to do, but early word at CinemaCon, actually, he revealed some of the footage, I think. Early word is that it's pretty good looking, like it looks good. And, yeah,
That's really exciting, actually.
Yes. I got into an argument with this guy, you know, on Twitter.
Was I there?
You were at Brian's, and I was talking to Brian about it.
Yes.
And, I got into an argument with him. Me and him had a heated back and forth, and that's a whole long story. I mean, I could get into it if you want, but it's like...
That's your call, man.
It's ridiculous. Point is, he was basically saying that people who say... like, this was after a mass shooting, and he was like, people who say thoughts and prayers to these people are stupid. And I'm like, okay, first of all, that's the most a lot of us can do, you know, is send them our thoughts and prayers. A lot of us don't have the money that you have to actually go out and do something more tactile. You know, what do you think is doing more? Saying thoughts and prayers to the families, or sitting behind a keyboard yelling about it? You know, the only difference is that you actually have the money to go out and do something about it. I don't. So why are you pointing your finger at me and people like me and telling me I'm not doing enough? You know what I mean? Like, you're not doing enough. It's like, excuse me? It's like, I'm sorry, if I had the money that you had, I would be doing something more. But you're not doing anything. You're just sitting behind a computer. So why are you pointing a finger at me? You know what I mean? Uh-huh. People like that just annoy me. I remember, this is a different story, but I said, I won't even get into it. It's stupid. But point is, like, me and him got into a heated exchange, and it ended amicably. Like, he sent me a private message saying, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, I can see from your Twitter feed that you're a nice guy and stuff like that. and it's like blah 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 blah, and he's like, I hope one day I see you want to be a filmmaker. I hope one day if you get to where you want to be, you will use it to spread whatever message. You will use that medium to spread whatever message you want to spread or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, like okay, it definitely won't be a message you like, but but I'll spread it.
Maybe he regretted it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe he did. The point is, I can't deny the dude's talent, and he's my number 4.
All right.
Talk about let bygones be bygones. This is the king of that. I'm putting the dude as my top 5 favorite. Like he's my number 4 favorite horror director.
Yeah.
So.
My number 3 is Romero.
Nice.
I love pretty much almost every movie he's done. I think the only one I didn't really care for was like Land of the Dead, but like
was that the found footage one?
Dead. No, that's the one where they learn to like fire guns.
Oh, okay.
Like zombies know how to fucking fire guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like Day of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, everything of the dead.
Of the Dead, yeah.
And then Creepshow. Creepshow's good too. I don't care what anybody says. I like Creepshow. So yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, he kind of invented zombies. He also changed a lot of the tropes to it too to keep things fresh. Like,
yeah.
It was always a changing landscape.
Yeah.
And then of course, makeup got better, effects got better. So like he was able to do more as time went on because he was so consistent with it for like long periods of time. But like his starting point was just so good. Like the makeup was really good. The story was really good. He kept it fresh, even though it was like in an isolated area.
Mm-hmm.
He's amazing.
I have a story for you.
What's up? 2
stories actually. Did you know that because like he basically invented the zombie, they didn't actually call them zombies in the script. They called them like ghouls and stuff like that. It wasn't until later films where they called them zombies. Also, there's a wide debate over where zombies came from originally. You know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lot of people point to George A. Romero and say, okay, he created it, which technically he kind of did. He definitely popularized it and stuff like that. But there's other sources saying that there are things that predate Night of the Living Dead that kind of have zombie-like qualities. And guess what it was? Guess what one of the ones is?
Which one?
The Smurfs. That's right. The Smurfs.
Like the blue people?
The blue people, yeah.
Why?
Because the Smurfs had a comic book before Night of the Living Dead, where a bee, like an infected bee, stung one of the Smurfs and turned the Smurfs black. So it was like a black Smurf, like pitch black.
What the hell?
And then that black Smurf would go and, like, he would kind of be mindless and turn into like a monster, would go and bite other Smurfs and then turn those Smurfs into the same thing. Like this black kind of monster. And then for the animated version, because they had that TV show as well, they changed them to be purple. Probably because of race relations and stuff like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but they changed them to be purple. So the black Smurfs. Or
what
purple
the
Smurfs.
Heck?
Were like the first zombies.
I can see where people would say that. It's a similarity.
Yeah, I mean, it came out before freaking,
Night of the Living Dead.
It's kind of like Scrooge McDuck and Inception,
Yeah.
You've heard that, right? How like a Scrooge McDuck storyline is like eerily similar to Inception.
Yeah, well, I actually never did hear that, but
yeah.
I can see where... Yeah, I can see that too.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Yes, where am I again? Am I number 3?
You're number 3.
John Carpenter.
Okay.
Number 3. I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah.
They Live, which is more of a thriller, but whatever. They
That's
Live.
More of this, like sci-fi comedy.
Whatever. The Thing. Halloween.
Yep.
Come on. Come on, dude.
Come on, John.
I mean, he's amazing. What can I say about John Carpenter that hasn't already been said? I mean, the dude knows how to elongate tension and build up to some really good scares. That's the thing, man. He builds that tension like a rubber band that just keeps going and going and going until it breaks, He's the master at that,
He is.
Yes. What else you got to say? You probably got to say more. I'm tired as fuck, dude. You have no idea.
About John Carpenter? You might just hear some more later on. So
okay, well, that's my number 3.
That's your number 3? My number 2 is Wes Craven.
My number 2 is also Wes Craven.
Dude, Last House on the Left, Scream, Nightmare on Elm Street, The Hills Have Eyes, like...
Yep.
I really like some of his stuff. I'm not crazy about Nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually probably my least favorite of that stuff, but like...
Mm-hmm. Scream is great.
Yeah, Scream is great.
He rejuvenated horror with that movie.
Yeah.
He definitely kind of went through a a big downslide later in his career, but you can't deny the genius that was Wes Craven.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the dude revolutionized horror.
He definitely knew a lot about horror, too, and that's what he was displaying when he did Scream, but, like...
Absolutely.
Yeah, Last House on the Left is probably, like, one of the best, like, rape revenge films.
Yeah.
There's some really shitty ones out there.
Yes.
And
I haven't
distasteful ones, too.
I haven't seen a lot of Last House on the Left. I do know... I have seen clips, though, and a lot of people kind of... I don't want to say make fun of that movie because it is like a classic horror film, but a lot of people talk about the score for that movie because it's so not that movie, you know?
Yeah, no. You know, I feel that way about a lot of movies, though. You know what
That's
movie
true.
I really don't get? I don't get the score for it, and it's The Boy too, The Untouchables.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
So
I can even go one step further for you.
Oh boy.
Jaws. I love the theme. Like the main theme is great. You know, the dunna.
Yeah.
But everything else, like when they're like running away from the shark, and it's very like whimsical music, you know, from John Williams. Like it's very like whimsy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this seems the music kind of fits more to like a fun scene, not like the scary scene.
No, that's like if you're talking about like in the later portions of the film where they're actually like on the hunt for the shark. Like I feel like it works a little bit because it's kind of an adventurous theme.
Yeah, it's more adventurous, but I feel like maybe they should have gone not to rewrite Jaws, but maybe a little bit more horror. But overall, it's an adventure horror. What can you expect?
Yeah.
But it's great. But I love Jaws. That's a 5 out of 5 for me, baby.
Yeah, but
no, Wes Craven's
Wes Craven.
He's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Mm-hmm.
And why does my thing keep... It literally just keeps deleting my podcast notes. I hate it.
Those bastards. All right, who's your number one, B?
Well, I think it's John Carpenter.
John Carpenter. Okay.
Halloween, The Thing, The Fog, Christine. You know, you could have made a really shitty movie out of Christine, and you know, not everyone loves that movie. It's not great.
I love that movie.
I like the movie. But like you could have easily made it like Rubber.
John Carpenter.
Where it's just nonsensical.
Right.
But like he kind of made it like a slasher film out of a car, and it's kind of like slow. Like you know the scene where like the car is on fire and it's like after the guy. It's a very slow moving scene, but like the guy's running and it's just right on top of him. Like that's such a good scene.
Yeah, dude. And I was gonna say, and you know, John Carpenter didn't even really like that film. He didn't even want to do it.
Really?
He just did it for a paycheck. He said.
Interesting.
And I'm like, damn, well, you freaking...
But it works for him because he's a very culty director and he likes that kind of B-movie side thing.
Yeah,
like,
you're
that's
right.
such a B-movie type thing, and he made it very serious.
And a lot of remakes tend to have sucked. The ones that, you know, that... The man perfected the remake with The Thing, first of all. And then any remake that has been made of his films has been garbage. Like the Fog remake. Ugh.
The Fog remake is with Tom
terrible.
Wellington.
Tom Wellington and like Kirk, right? Isn't Kirk in that too? From like what's his name? Or Dirk or whatever his name is from Scrubs.
Oh, was he? I just remember the girl from Lost was in it.
It was so bad, dude.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was so bad.
But like this movie was really good.
The Halloween
remake,
terrible.
I remember watching The Fog on like they had the AMC Friday movie, the Friday horror movies or whatever. Life-changing for me when I was a kid. Life-changing.
Yeah.
And I caught it, and I really liked that movie because it kind of played out like a campfire story. Like the way they're explaining it and stuff like that. And like it's a kind of a slow building movie, but when it like unleashes like at the end, like it's nuts.
It's so good. I think it's better than The Mist. You know, which just kind of has like a similar-esque kind of...
Yeah, I always used to confuse the two.
Yeah.
You're talking about the new Mist?
Just The Mist in general.
Okay.
You know, so...
The Frank Darabont one?
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot, though.
I'm not a huge fan.
Really?
Yeah.
I like it.
Thought it was pretty average. There's a lot of weird fading to black in like the middle of that film for like no reason. I'm like why? Like this, just don't do that. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot more about the film I won't talk about. There's a crazy religious lady, and I'm like, okay, here we go, Stephen King. Here we go again.
But yeah, I mean, I've already talked about the Thing a bunch. We talked about
Halloween's to death.
So,
what can we say?
John Carpenter, man.
John Carpenter. All right.
What's your number one?
It's
James Wan.
It is James Wan.
It's James Wan, and that was my honorable mention.
Okay. Yeah. James Wan, he's fantastic. The dude got me into horror. So how can he not be my number one? I love telling the story of James Wan because the dude came out with Saw, and like the first Saw is very different than the rest. I've already said this, but the sequels turned Saw into what it was. And then James Wan saw that and he's like, yeah, I basically ruined horror inadvertently. I need to bring this baby back to its roots. And he did that with Insidious, Insidious 2, The Conjuring 2. He produces films like Lights Out. Also, I really think Death Sentence is a really good film. I know Dead Silence has James Wan has disowned Dead Silence. And Dead Silence kind of has a cult following.
Movie?
He did, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He said,
was fun.
Yeah, a lot of people, there's like a huge cult following for that film, but he came out and he's like, no. I hate that film. He openly mocks that film all the time.
I just really like the twist of that movie.
It's so ridiculous. It's
so funny to me.
It's so ridiculous. But the dude is fantastic, dude. Again, the Conjuring films, fantastic. Insidious. I love how he saw that Saw basically turned horror into like nothing but gore fetishizing. And he's like, I don't like that. That's not what horror's supposed to be. Horror's supposed to scare you, not just gross you out.
Yeah.
There's supposed to be substance here. He saw that, so what he did was he made a PG-13 horror film with no blood, little to no blood, and used nothing but strict atmosphere. And then he went back to 70s horror with The Conjuring and brought a lot of those techniques back to the forefront, back to the mainstream. And again, The Conjuring doesn't have that much blood either. The only time there's blood in the first Conjuring movie is when she like pukes it up on the sheet.
Yeah, I do.
That's the only drop of blood in that entire film. But that film is still rated R. There's no swearing in that film either. You know why it's rated R? Just because it's simply too scary. That's it. And that's amazing. You know? So, he knows what he's doing. And his style is so good.